If you guys watched one of my recent videos where I got the Indian mud skippers, I talked a little bit about where I got them from, and I got them from my friend Carlos from Backyard Aquatics. So Carlos and his wife Diane live in Napa, California. That's about an hour or so from San Francisco. So I went up there and picked up the Indian mud skippers, and while I was there, I did some filming. In that video about the Indian mud skippers, I did say that I would share that footage with you. Today is that video. Hey fish friends, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Zenzo from Tazawa Tanks. So I have a small fish room. It's kind of modest. It's nothing to brag about. I just keep some fish that I really enjoy down here, as well as some fish that I'm breeding for profit. One of the tanks that I really enjoy lately is my Indian mud skipper tank. These little guys are so fun, so personable, just like my African mud skippers and my 75-gallon brackish tank. Very similar as far as behavior. I really do enjoy feeding them, interacting with them, and when I open the lid of the tank and put my hand in there, they all kind of run towards my hand. Normally you would kind of find fish swimming away from you, but if fish know that you're going to feed them, or if you're a friend, they will come up to you. So I've actually had one of the mud skippers jump onto my hand. Maybe one day I'll try to hand feed them and I'll film that. So anyway, that's enough talking from me for now. So let's go check out the Backyard Aquatics fish room and its outdoor area. You want to stay tuned for that as well. So this is the Backyard Aquatics fish room. It's a detached garage, and they've insulated this entire room and have filled it with fish tanks. There are over 80 tanks in here, all different sizes, all different types of fish. Today I'm going to kind of bring you around and show you some of the tanks that I was most interested in. If you do want an in-depth video that talks about each of these tanks in detail, I will put a link down below in the description of a recent tour of this fish room that was done by Corey from Aquarium Co-op. Here I'm just kind of highlighting some of the things that I was most interested in. One of the things that struck me in this fish room is that all of the tanks, even though a lot of them are set up for breeding, they are decorated. There's wood, there's plants, etc. So really interesting. Here are some pencil fish. Really interesting the way these fish kind of always hover at an angle together. I believe these are some stir-by Corridores. I actually have some of these fish from Carlos in one of my tanks. Some paradise karamis. These are beautiful. He has bred these actually outside in his ponds, in his little tubs outside. So very interesting as well. Here's some more Corridores. I should have gotten the names of all of these fish, and I apologize that I didn't do that. We were just kind of walking and talking, feeding some of the fish, so I was just kind of filming as we were going around, so I don't have the names on all of these fish. I'm sure many of you probably know what they are already. If there are some fish that I didn't know what they were, I would mention it here in this video. But again, you can kind of see how he's decorated these tanks. These are some pipefish. These are freshwater pipefish. Really interesting. I've never actually seen those before. This is a dragon puffer, so kind of a stalking hunter fish that he has. We ended up feeding it some frozen shrimp. I believe this was mysis shrimp. We put a kind of broke off a clump and put it in there, and as soon as it thawed, he started attacking it. So really interesting to see a fish that usually kind of hides and just waits and ambushes to kind of swim around and allow us to film him. So obviously food is a very persuasive thing sometimes to get your fish to interact with you. Carlos does have a lot of bettas. I didn't show a lot of them. I will show a couple here. This is a female, I believe. These were amazing. These were a bunch of red-eye puffers. I don't know the exact scientific name, but that's the common name, is a red-eye puffer, and I believe he had about 8 of them in this tank, so they were all getting along fine. There wasn't any sign of any aggression or anything. So for those of you that are looking for puffers that can live together, Carlos has demonstrated that they definitely can live together in a large group, so without any issue. Back to the pipefish, we are feeding them here some live food. So I think this is a combination of Daphnia from outside, which I'll show you here in a few minutes, as well as some mosquito larvae, etc. So you can see here a female just grabbed that mosquito larva. So anyway, really neat to be able to have some very unique fish like this and to see them eat live foods and have those foods readily available, which Carlos definitely has, as he's got lots of tubs of these live foods outside. I believe this is the male, so the male kind of acts differently, and the male actually has like a little pouch that carries the babies. Here are some smaller pipefish. I believe that this is a different type, I'm not sure, but they're also a freshwater pipefish. These were a lot smaller, also feeding. I believe that we're still feeding Daphnia, and we just went outside and Carlos scooped up like a big bucket of Daphnia so we could feed a lot of the different tanks. But kind of interesting to watch them feed. They kind of stand upright, so their tails are at the bottom and their heads are kind of up, and they kind of bob up and down as they hunt these little microscopic foods that are swimming around in their aquarium. So that was very interesting. Again, I've never even seen these before. I've seen them on videos, but I've never seen them in person. So that was really interesting to watch these little guys to eat. And from what I understand, they are kind of related to seahorses. So that was interesting. These were some very interesting plecos. I don't know the name of them. And Carlos told me, but I forgot. What I found was interesting is their tail. If you look at kind of their tail section, you can see that that's very bushy. So think of like a bristlenose pleco, where they have all those bristles and stuff on the front of their face. These have them on their tails, so I'm sure they serve some kind of purpose. I just don't know what that is, but I found it fascinating. This is a whiptail. I want to say it's a Colombian whiptail or something. I don't remember exactly the name. All I know is that they're super rare and super expensive. So I don't believe he's shown these to anyone yet. So he was very proud of these, and very interesting to see their colors and decor. More Corridoras here. All the Corridora tanks have sand so that they're able to kind of sift and kind of have their natural behavior. He does breed a lot of them. These are very interesting. These are the honeycomb catfish, and they kind of just hide out and hang out until you put some food in the tank, and then watch these guys. They just go crazy. They're just flying around like sharks in a feeding frenzy, eating all this live food. So it was just interesting to see them like not moving at all. And as soon as they tasted that live food in the water, they just went nuts. And they did this for a couple of minutes, where they're just swimming around, just sucking up every moving little critter in there. So very interesting to see these guys. And I've seen these before on film, but I've never seen these in person as well. So that was very interesting. He does have a lot of fish that you don't normally see in stores. He's really into certain kinds of catfish and things like that. Here is a super red bristlenose, and again, kind of doing this little feeding frenzy thing. And I think this is just some flake food. I think Carlos just took like a little pinch of flake food and threw it in the tank, and bristlenose went crazy for it. And there's another one there you can see coming out of the little cave, and then a bunch of other fish. I don't recall what fish there were. This fish is amazing. This is one of my favorite fish that I've seen in Carlos's Fishroom, and I've seen this fish a couple of times. This is the blue galaris, I believe. It's a killifish, kind of on the large size, and really brilliant as far as the colors are concerned. You can see just the brilliant blues, and a real interesting fish. And these are spawning for him as well in a spawning mop. This is an orange head autosynclus. He does have a few kind of interesting, not so common autosynclus catfish. Here's a giant auto. So again, another autosynclus that you don't normally see in a lot of fish stores. And so if you are interested in some cool catfish, definitely Carlos and Diane are the couple to talk to. Here's another one of those autosynclus here. They are breeding some bettas. Here's a sorority tank with a bunch of females. They also have some a little bit more rare wild bettas. This one here is a little bit shy, but that's a betta cochina. And then now we go outside. This is only part of the backyard system. He hasn't set up all of his other ponds and tubs yet, but here you can see that, this is why they're called backyard aquatics, because he has a whole bunch of tanks outside. Tanks, tubs, plants, a lot of live food, breeding fish outside. Some of the fish inside were bred outside. So it is really interesting to see this little greenhouse that he made. It was quite warm. And then maybe later in the summer when he's got all the other tubs going, I'll come back and check those out as well. You can also check those out on the Aquarium Co-op video. So anyway, I hope you like this little tour, and sorry I didn't have all the names, but definitely an interesting fish room. So that was it. I hope you enjoyed the short little tour. If you do want a more in-depth tour of that fish room and kind of understand, you know, what's going on in each of the tanks, I will put a description, I will put a link down below in the description from when Aquarium Co-op went there and did kind of a more extensive tour of the fish room. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. We'll catch you on the next one.